This is Good Morning San Diego.
The federal investigation into Sean Diddy Combs and the raids at his homes by federal agents have brought up questions about the rapper and hip-hop music mogul. Here to discuss the latest on the investigation is criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj. Vic, good morning. Great to see you as always.
Good morning. Thank you.
You sat down and I said, what do you think of this case? And you said, which layer?
Which layer? Exactly right, Jason. When we look at these cases, we look at what's actually published, and this lewd and lascivious sexual conduct seems to be the top of the pecking order. But we have narcotics trafficking, we have money laundering, we have significant Department of Justice forfeiture actions that we can predict, in addition to simply being part of a larger organization, a RICO conspiracy. We were also talking about what that means. A RICO conspiracy really allows the government to go far back into the history to when this organization started. So it does away with what is normally a concern, which would be a statute of limitations for older crimes. It also allows for a wider grasp of offenses throughout the United States and otherwise. So jurisdiction is not much of an issue. So the RICO is really the umbrella that's going to cover all of the tactics and activities of the criminal organization. If we see a criminal case here, the activities would be money laundering, sex trafficking, human trafficking, and of course, the narcotics activity that we're hinting about now.
What does RICO stand for? And you said, does that pretty much eliminate the statute of limitations?
Yeah, it basically expands it. So if you have just, let's say, a drug crime that should have or could have been prosecuted within, let's say, a 5-year statute of limitations, well, you can't touch that case if it hasn't been investigated or prosecuted in due time to ensure a right to a speedy trial. However, when that act, that very same act, is part of a RICO allegation, a elevated conspiracy, then the statute of limitations would not prohibit that act from being used as an element to prove the larger conspiracy. And to answer your question, RICO is Racketeering Influence Corruption Organization Act. Okay. And this was really started in the 80s and 90s to actually go after corruption and organized crime. The mafioso cases that we heard about with Rudy Giuliani in New York in the 80s and 90s. That's the intent of the statute. Of course, over the decades, we've seen it applied to myriad different situations.
They have raided his home. There was rumors initially when the news broke that he had taken his private jet to the Bahamas, I think it was. But now TMZ was just online. They're posting pictures of him that they don't know exactly where it is, but he's smiling like nothing's happening, and they were recent photographs. I think it was Star Island near his home to Miami.
Right, and I think the import of all of that is that he is not in custody. That's the bottom line. Whether he was strolling around a Miami airport or whether he was in Los Angeles with his daughters after dinner, it really doesn't matter. The point of the matter is procedurally he's not in custody. Why is that so important? As we talk about the process of a criminal investigation, the Department of Justice has enough to go in for the search warrants. But they need to corroborate all of these extraordinary allegations in order to believe that they can prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt, therefore presenting it to a grand jury or proceeding by way of information without a grand jury. In these cases, however, you can bet your bottom dollar it will be a grand jury presentation, because many of the witnesses may be under threat of fear or harm or extortion, and the government wants to protect those witnesses.
What do you think is going on behind the scenes right now?
Right now, all of the information that's been obtained from the at least 3 residents, as well as the plane that was stopped on the tarmac there, is being gone through. So on the state side here in California, we have the Regional Crime Laboratory and Forensics. On the federal side, they have an analogous department that will take all that information, make copies of it so that the original is maintained, and go through the communications. What they're looking for is proof of conspiracies for drug trafficking, sex trafficking, potentially money laundering, which could bolster their forfeiture case, and connecting the dots to prove the longevity, meaning how long this went on, and the extent of the activities of the alleged criminal organization.
Wow, a lot of moving parts, a lot more to come. Vikas Bajaj, always great to have you in here.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
Always learn a lot.
Thanks,
you. Vic.